This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is not America's Sweetheart, Davian. And
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy James.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hi, this is the Golden Child, Evan Golden, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today. The trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I'm, of course, your host, James J., and it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with the Golden Child, Evan Golden.
Hey, what's going on, James? Thanks for having me on the show, buddy.
Absolutely. And where can people bask in the Golden Child next, event-wise?
Yeah, this Saturday we have an event at SPCW Wrestling. One of my best buddies, Casey Cazana, has challenged me for my SPCW Junior Heavyweight Championship. And this Saturday, I've decided that I am going to give him the title opportunity. So this Saturday in La Follette, Tennessee, SPCW 113. I'm going to have to teach him a lesson, James. That's all I can say. I'm going to have to put him in his spot because I can't believe he's doing this to me.
Well, we will put a pin in that for just one moment. Can you tell us about where we can find you on social media and your merchandise?
Absolutely. So I'm on Twitter /X at Evan Golden and Instagram at Evan Golden at Evan the Blonde. And then I'm also on Twitch. I think my handle on there is Evan Golden Wrestler. I like playing video games on there a lot, so I'm going to have to plug that in there. And yeah, on Facebook, Evan Golden, I may have mentioned that already. But yeah, I'm available on all social media, and that's a great place for people to find out what events I have coming up. And also, you can buy Evan Golden t-shirts at Pro Wrestling Tees at Evan Golden, so that's the spot to be.
Perfect. And you don't have to go looking for it. All of the links to all his social media and merchandise will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox.
Awesome. Good deal.
Absolutely. So you just mentioned it. You and Casey going at it. Does it have anything to do with you being best friends with AJ?
You know, that's the sad part, James. I don't know. I feel like it could be, though. I actually didn't think about that. I think that it's very possible that he's stumbled across me and AJ's friendship in the past, and I think he very well could be jealous of that. But, I also think it's because, Casey's never had a singles championship, and, if anybody's worthy of having a shot, of course it's him. But at the same time, it just makes me sick to my stomach that someone so close to me has just turned around and decided that they want to try and take my title from me. So I don't know. It could have something to do with that, man. You might be onto something, but I sure hope that's not true,
I can imagine AJ is not like sweating bullets, his brother, his best friend.
Yeah, I feel like AJ's always at the sidelines watching me and Casey's drama going, what are they doing? Like, what's the big deal? But all I know is I've loved Casey like a brother. I've known him since he first started. And I just, couldn't have asked for a better best pal ever. And now, he's turned around and he's trying to take something that he knows I just won last month, so it's a shame really to see that this happened. And I can't believe that I can't believe I even have brought any of this up because I never thought I'd say it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, it's horrible news. But look, this Saturday though, we're just going to have to put our history aside, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to have to go out there and we're going to have to face off and just, the past is the past. And I know in the future, I'm not going to lose this championship. And that's what's going to happen is I'm going to retain. And I sure hope that when all this is over with and I remain champion, I hope that Casey and I can just sort this out. So.
And shout out to Casey and AJ, both friends of the show as well.
Great. You know, that's good. And like I said, Casey, I love him like a brother, but it's just, it's bad news what he's trying to do to me in my championship run, and I hope he doesn't think he's actually going to win this weekend. But, you know, we'll see what happens. You know, anything can happen, but he's going to feel the burn.
No, I absolutely get it. Gold before bros.
Yeah, exactly. You know all about it, man.
With that being said, you do work for NWA/Joe Cazana Promotions and the School of Morton. Can you tell us about your relationship with those companies?
Yeah, so I have a great working relationship with Joe Cazana and Mr. Billy Corgan. You know, what they're doing with the territories is so cool. You know, the territory system is what makes wrestling go round to me. You know, I feel like that's what gives opportunities to more and more talent around the regions. And what I'm doing with Mr. Cazana and Billy Corgan is going out there and representing NWA and, you know, doing the best work that I can do in showing out and, you know, just going out there and doing my best work that I can do under the NWA banner. And then at School of Morton, I'm doing the same thing because SOM Live is represented by Ricky Morton, who's an absolute legend. And so, you know, I've got a huge responsibility to, you know, do my best work and win championships and just go out there and do my best. And I have like the absolute honor of doing that at NWA and at SOM Live. So yeah, there's been some cool stuff going on around there, James. I actually just won a championship at SOM. I'm the new East Tennessee champion.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, it literally just happened just a couple of weekends ago. I'm the new champ, and I'm excited. You're the first show that I've brought up the new win on, so I'm super hyped about it.
Hell yeah. Well, that being said, before East Tennessee, you were the School of Morton's hybrid champion.
That's true. Yeah.
And, you know, when it comes to independent pro wrestling, you know, it's kind of, you win a championship and, you know, you just carry it until, you know, the next guy. There's not a lot of, let's say, defining championship runs on the independent circuit. So what did it kind of mean to you to have such a memorable run with that title?
Man, it was so cool because, you know, I felt like I went out there and was doing things that hadn't really been done before. I got these opportunities at SOM that, like, I didn't expect to have happen. You know, like, I got my own talk show. That was awesome. And then, you know, I was able to defend the title against a lot of memorable names. Actually, the first time I ever wrestled Casey Cazana was for the hybrid championship. And I also, you know, I always have to remind myself I was the longest reigning champion too. I think that's like a huge accomplishment. It feels good, man. It's cool to have like people still bring it up and like remember that I tried to do a lot with it. You know, like I took it on a ton of different shows and like I took it to Knoxville radio, and like I just wanted to get as many eyes on the hybrid championship as much as possible. And I really do feel like I did a fine job at, you know, making the title get more recognition. So it really does feel cool, and I'm super proud of the run that I had with that.
And obviously, you know, you and your fans were very grateful for that run. the School of Morton was probably celebrating once you lost it.
Yeah, as awesome as I think it went, and as much as a blast that I had, the moment that I lost the title, the place roared, and there was probably a parade outside. But I had a great time, and that's all that counts. But I do know that even though there was a huge party after I lost, I'm happy to say that I do think it'll go down in history, and the champions after that run will, know that title is definitely important,
Right. Well, they didn't get rid of you for that long. You just won another title.
Yeah, so they're going to have to sit back and keep watching because I'm not going anywhere. And I also, now that I think about it, I also had a tag title there, the East Tennessee Tag Team Championship. I had it with Casey and Micheal Gabriel, but we had it using... I don't know if you're familiar too much with the Freebird rule, but we use that. And so yeah, people, they can't catch a break. If there's anybody watching SOM that doesn't like me, they're probably not happy with what I've been doing.
Well, I mean, hey, it's in the name, the Golden Child.
Yeah, like, what did they expect? I'm not going to be, taking a nap in the back or sitting around. I'm going to be after the gold. You definitely have the right mindset about this.
That being said, about the nickname, the moniker, Golden Child, you do work for Joe Cazana, who was the Golden Boy. Have you had a conversation about that?
I have. Actually, the first time I ever talked to Joe Cazana on the phone, the first thing I said is I was like, hello, former Golden Boy. And he was like, hey, Golden Boy. So we call each other Golden Boy, and it's hilarious. And actually, I did something that I think is kind of neat at School of Morton once. If you go back and watch the match that I had with Kurt Cazana, which was the first time him and I had ever wrestled together, I actually basically dressed up as Joe Cazana, and it's kind of something that not a lot of people probably noticed because you have to be kind of an old school wrestling fan to notice it. But I found an old picture of Joe Cazana, and I basically copied his entire look for that match. And this was before I'd even met him or talked to him. And I later found out that he was pleasantly flattered that I looked just like him wearing his clothes. And because I didn't know what he was going to think about that, but he liked it. So, yeah, there has been a conversation. We joke about it a lot. I call him Golden Boy and he calls me Golden Boy. And he has seen that I cosplayed as him, I guess is the word. And so there's definitely been a lot of joking around about that.
Now, obviously, on the other end of that spectrum, Ricky Morton. You got a Ricky Morton story?
Well, I've kind of got like the funniest one of them all. Nothing really in particular has happened other than the fact that I've known Ricky Morton since I was like 2 years old. And what's funny about that to me, and like I said, this isn't really like a specific story. It's kind of funny. One of my earliest memories of my entire life is literally seeing his hair when I was like 2 or 3 years old. I remember my dad, because I would always be on the road with my dad when he was wrestling. And my dad would always have me in the locker room in some sort of stroller or a basket or something where I was just, in there with him, but, in a spot to where while he's wrestling, somebody could watch me, right? Well, one of the first memories that I ever had at one of my dad's wrestling events, I would say I was 2 or 3 years old. I just remember seeing his, like, really platinum blonde hair. And I guess I remember thinking to myself, like, oh, that's really cool hair. I don't remember exactly what I thought, of course, because I was like literally, I guess, a baby. But it's just so funny that that's one of the first like I guess images in my head when I think back at my earliest wrestling day memories, because that's he's had the same hairstyle since the 80s, you know, maybe even the 70s at this point. So it's kind of funny that it still looks the same today, because here now I wrestle at School of Morton, and he comes up and, you know, helps train with people, and he comes to the shows, and he has the exact same hairstyle that I literally recognized when I was like 2. So that's like, I don't know, that's like really long-term storytelling, but it's just something that every time I see him, I think about. I'm just like, I can't believe that's the same hair I've been looking at since I was a baby. So.
Well, keeping on School of Morton, you were named Breakout Star of the Year last year, 2023.
Yeah.
What does that kind of mean to you?
You know what? When I first went to SOM Live, I was very nervous because I'd had no TV experience, and I actually was having a really hard time finding out who I really was. I also never had an opportunity to talk as much, which is why I really like to do that. You know, I love being on the microphone. I love, you know, calling people out, and I never really had a chance to do that before going there. And when I finally got going, and like we talked about, you know, when I finally got the hybrid championship, everything, you know, started to fall into place. And when I finally got my first award, which was the Breakout Star, you know, that's the first, like, I guess, accomplishment I've gotten in wrestling as far as like winning an award. That just, you know, really opened my eyes to like, oh my goodness, all the hard work is paying off, and, you know, people realizing that, you know, I'm here every week and I'm a defending champion, whether they like it or not. You know, I'm breaking out, and I'm just trying to make a mark. So that was just, you know, surreal. Like when I got the certificate, I was really looking hard at it. Like, wow, you know, I just kind of came in here and did that. But you know, it was a really close race between me and that no good miscreant Blade Gibson. I don't know if you know Blade, but he's the one I actually beat for the title, and he almost beat me back for the spot of Breakout Star, and I'm so glad that I won, because I was told that I won by like 3 votes. So it was a close call, and Blade would have absolutely deserved that spot too. But when I found out how close the running was, I was like, oh my goodness, that was close.
All you need is a recount, brother.
Yeah, I know. I thought about having another match with him just to figure out which one should win. Maybe we could put the Breakout Star certificate on the line, but then I was like, no, we'll just let the people decide.
Now, you are a second-generation wrestler.
Yeah.
Can you tell us the advantages and disadvantages of being a second-gen wrestler?
Well, I guess I'll start with the disadvantages first. I feel like that, you know, I don't want to sound braggadocious or anything, because everybody has different opinions, but my dad was such a good wrestler, and he had, you know, I know that that's true because he got respect from so many different people, like high caliber names, like really like respectable people respected him for how good he was in the ring and for how good of a person he was. So the disadvantage with that being said is I had huge shoes to fill, you know, almost unrealistic shoes, because, you know, just knowing that that's what I had to follow, like 30 plus years of just being a fantastic wrestler in making such an impact, knowing that I had to follow that and make it my own, that's, I guess it's weird. I guess that's a disadvantage because there's so much pressure. But I think the advantage of being a second generation wrestler is you can realize, like, hold on a second, like, I don't have to be a carbon copy of my dad, you know. It was actually my dad that told me that, by the way. He was like, son, you don't have to be a carbon copy of me. You just need to go out and be yourself. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. And so that's an advantage, that I've been able to make my own mark, and make my own decisions and, you know, do my own thing without really being in a shadow. But yeah, that is a disadvantage though, is that a lot of people compare me to him in different ways. I've had people say, "Oh my gosh, Evan's not nearly as good as his dad in the ring." But an advantage is I don't have to be. I can just be different, And another advantage too is I really have like a close connection with other second and third generation wrestlers, because they kind of understand like what I've gone through. I was telling you about how I saw Ricky Morton when I was like 2 years old. The only other kids that would ever understand what that's like are other generational wrestlers like me. And so whenever I tell people like Casey Cazana that, or, Luke Fury, I'm trying to think of other names, but like that's a
Kerry.
great example, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously the advantages are I have an awesome last name with a dad that could not have been a better wrestler. Disadvantages are I get compared a lot, and but that's okay, because I wouldn't want to be compared to anybody else. So
Right.
yeah, so it's in the long run, it's cool because wrestling's been a part of my life for so long. It's basically like the reason I was born also, because not to go into a deep dive or anything, but like my parents met through wrestling, so I probably wouldn't even be here without it. So it's just like it's awesome because I love wrestling so much, and it makes it even more special that I wouldn't even be around if it wasn't a thing. So yeah.
Now, I am curious. Was it always the plan to be Evan Golden, or how were you thinking about using other names?
When I first decided that I wanted to wrestle, it crossed my mind that, in this day and age, sometimes you have to change your name a lot. If you go to certain promotions, sometimes you're legally supposed to change your name. So I actually thought of a bunch of different ideas, like, okay, like, maybe I could, have a different name, or like maybe like a nickname that's my actual name. Like I thought for a minute, like maybe my wrestling name could just be the Golden Child, and that's it. And that way I don't ever have to change it, because it's just a nickname that's a name. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I decided no, because my dad's, he's called me Evan Golden since I was a kid, just because, that's my name. And also just, it's the best way to carry on your wrestling family's legacy. So, but no, there weren't any names that I had written down like, oh, this will be my wrestling name instead, because Evan Golden's just been my name my whole life, and I just didn't really see too much of a point in changing it to anything different. But my nickname, the Golden Child, was actually given to me by one of my trainers. His name's Easy Money. You may remember him from ECW.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he helped train me and is good friends with my dad, and he sent me a message, like an email or something one day, when I first started training, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on, Golden Child?" And I started using that because I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's like the perfect nickname,"
Right.
So that's definitely one thing that I'm proud of, is I have a different nickname, because my dad's was 24 Karat Eddie Golden, and now I'm the Golden Child. So.
And speaking of Eddie, your first ever match, he actually accompanied you to the ring. What did that kind of mean to you, to have your dad manage you for the night?
Oh man, I couldn't have thought of a better way to start my career, because my whole life my dad's been teaching me what wrestling's all about. He's been teaching me how to wrestle since I was like a kid, so for the day to finally come where we're actually behind the curtain for real, at a real show, to start my wrestling career for real, like just standing back there with him was surreal. And having him walk me to the ring, and like I remember he like sat on the rope and opened them for me so I could get into the ring. That felt like just so cool, because it was kind of like he was passing, his ring to me. I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, like this couldn't feel any more awesome for me. And having him at ringside was good too, because I was also cheating during the match and he helped me. So I mean, that's another reason I'm really glad he was there for that.
Well, we haven't seen him in the ring with you yet. Has a tag or a one-on-one match been discussed?
It has been. Last year there was a discussion that maybe him and I could wrestle each other, but we both talked about it, and we were just like, as cool as that would be, and as much as it would teach me in the ring, I just don't, we both just, I don't know. Me and my dad have an awesome relationship, we always have, and so we kind of just, even the idea of wrestling each other, we just kind of look at each other and go, well, we don't have to do that. I mean, we could, because he's always been in my corner, and he's always had my back, and, he's my dad, and, we thought about it just to maybe teach me a wrestling lesson, but we could just do that at training, like we thought the lessons that he could teach me in the ring, we could just do behind closed doors in a wrestling ring, at a training building or something, in a ring somewhere with no crowd, because we don't have any reason to wrestle each other, so we don't really, feel the need to do that. But being a team has absolutely been an idea because, like I said, our relationship is perfect, like he teaches me everything I need to know, and I've been on the road with him since I was a kid, so, it would only make sense for us to be a team. Wrestling each other, not so much. But my dad's also gone through different health challenges in his life more recently due to wrestling and just different stuff. So it really comes down to also if he wants to wrestle again. And right now, I can't really tell. It changes day by day. He'll be like, oh, man, we need to wrestle together. So we need to get in the ring and tag and, try to be tag champions or something. And then the next day, he's like, I think I'm going to sit on this recliner and not do anything. And I'm like, okay, well, just let me know what you want to do. But, he's absolutely earned the position to choose and stay home to rest. But the point is, though, if he does decide to get back in the ring, we would definitely be a team.
Okay. And, if these issues with Casey kind of linger, I know Joe feels the need to put the boots on one more time to team with his son. So maybe a Golden versus Cazana family affair.
Well, when I first met KC, the first thing that went through my mind is what my dad told me. He said the Golden Wrestling family has always been better than the Cazanas. And I'm sorry, it's true. And I hate to reopen this can of worms because, I've done it before. Casey knows how I feel about that because when I first had a rivalry with him, I told him, I said, it's in the history books, pal. Goldens are way better than the Cazanas. You know that. And he was like, no. The Cazanas are way better than the Goldens. And I was like, nope. So now that this is back up and running, that's not such a bad idea. Because, the first time around, I was handling KC on my own, and he was handling me on his own. There was no help from his brother. His dad, I'm sure, disagrees that the Goldens are better, but look, if they want to handle this family affair, I think you couldn't have said it any better. They're gonna have to get out of the house and do something about it, and they need to know that if that happens, my dad will definitely be there to defend the Golden name and make sure that we sort this out like men, so, but we'll see. I hope it doesn't get that ugly, James, but you don't know how bad things can get with KC because he's very unpredictable. The next day he could be my friend and we'll be best buddies per usual. And then the next day he's trying to sabotage me and have a family war. So I don't know what'll happen, but right. that might happen if things get worse and worse.
Right, depending on the promotion.
Yeah, we'll see how loud things get. I sure hope that things don't get too nasty. Hopefully on Saturday I can just, win the match and then he'll quit talking about it and we'll just go back to our normal lives and I'll still be champion per usual and everything will be okay. but I do have this horrible feeling that he's not gonna shut up about it and still try to be champion. But I mean, you know that that's never gonna happen. So
I gotcha.
oh yeah.
Now, you mentioned it a little earlier, and this is not something, again, you find on the independents all that often. You have your own talk show, the 24 Karat Gold Talk Show. How did something like that come about, and what does it mean to you to have your own talk show?
Yeah, it means everything to me because anybody that really knows me well knows that I have a really hard time shutting my lip up, okay? I'm always talking about something or calling somebody out or just challenging somebody. And it's just, I'm proud of the fact that I can do that because that way people won't walk all over me. My dad calls it a gift of gab that he didn't have. He was like, son, you really talk a lot. And I was like, I know. And he was like, well, that can help you, though. And I was like, well, I hope so, because it's the only way I can shut some of these people down. But the talk show is perfect for that because I can go out there and I can challenge for whatever I want. If once I've had this East Tennessee title for hundreds and hundreds of days, if I want another one, I could just call out a champion on my show and they'll probably get mad and want to come out and sort things out. And next thing you know, there's a match. So having a talk show can help you get what you want. You know what I mean? And I know about, podcasting and stuff. There's no better way to talk to people than to talk to them and have them as a guest, and ask them your questions. It's the same thing with me. If I want a shot at a championship, I can just call out the champion, ask them when and where on my show, and maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. I have noticed on the talk show things go haywire a lot for some reason. I don't know why people get mad on the show and try to fight me on my set. I don't know why. I don't feel like I'm causing a problem, but that's one thing that does happen a lot that's not good on the show. But yeah, having a talk show is awesome, and that's something that Ricky Morton and the people behind SOM were like, we just need to give him this so he can just tell everybody what he's thinking, because he's not going to be quiet otherwise, so we'll just give him a segment.
So, it's Ricky Morton coming up to you and saying, we're giving you a talk show, run with this?
Yeah, they were basically just like, look, Evan, you make all these videos, you're telling everybody how you feel, and you're calling these people out, like, with no warning. We feel like the best way that you can, tell people what you're thinking is to just give you this segment. And that's what happened, and I feel like it's been a huge success. Sure, people boo me out, but it doesn't matter, because, I get to go out there and talk about what's on my mind. And I feel like, and I know, like I said, that all about this, having a platform to talk about what you want to talk about is awesome. If you like to, make challenges and talk about what's going on, defend yourself, having that platform's awesome. And yeah, they definitely gave me that opportunity and I'm running with it. So.
Well, you might be on the outskirts with KC right now, QBT tournament. But, there is an extra factor in that. You are part of a trios with Micheal Gabriel. Can you tell us about your relationship with him?
Yeah, Micheal Gabriel is a really good competitor in the ring. He's a little weird, though. He's got kind of like a mystique to him that you can't really pinpoint what he's doing. You never know. He's very unpredictable, I guess I should say. And in the ring, he tries to use mind games to really, break his opponents down. And when me and Cazana formed the Generation 3 Express, which is our trio at SOM, Micheal Gabriel, as far as I remember, was just standing there when we did it. He was just out there for some reason, right in the middle of the scene when we started the tag team, and ever since then he's been with us, and he's been a great factor in making sure that we get an extra set of hands when we need to pull out the big guns. So And Micheal Gabriel is also who I've been tagging with at NWA JCP. So I've got to know him really well now because we're on the territories together and we're teaming. And we actually just won a match at NWA Showdown at Sunbright just a couple of months ago. So, I mean, like, him and I have actually really grown closer together because of the trio and what we're doing at NWA and NWA JCP. So, yeah, he's a good guy, but you have to watch closely. You never know what he's going to do because he's very mysterious.
Well, it does bring out maybe a different side of you as well. Can you tell us about Turtleneck Evan Golden?
Turtleneck Evan Golden is the last Evan Golden that I ever thought I would ever be. You know, I'll just put it like this. If anybody is going to get me to wear a turtleneck, it's Micheal Gabriel. I would never wear a turtleneck for anybody else. He wants me to wear it, and you know what? I don't think I look half bad. You know, I found that in my closet, and you know what? It actually, you know, I don't know why I had it to begin with, but maybe it was for good reason, because now I'm out there, I'm turtlenecking, and me and Micheal Gabriel are making the towns, we're winning, and if I have to look a little ridiculous while doing it, it's fine, because he's my friend, and we'll go out there and we'll win, and that's what we've been doing. I don't know how I feel about wearing a turtleneck. It gets hot. I mean, you know, in these buildings, it's like 100 degrees, and I've got thick fabric around my neck, but that's okay, because, like I said, maybe that's why we're winning. It's a lucky turtleneck.
All right. Now, you know, you mentioned, you know, Kerry Morton and, Ricky Morton and, you know, the long history you've had since, you know, you were a child. Long storm storytelling. Can you tell us about being in the ring with Kerry Morton?
Yeah, that does tie into the long-term storytelling because I've known Kerry since I was a baby. You know, what's funny, I was telling you about how I saw Ricky while I was in my, what's it called, a stroller. It's very possible that Kerry was in a stroller right next to me because Ricky was also bringing Kerry to the shows, and me and Kerry are the same age, and we've basically done the same thing. We've been on the road with our dads this entire journey, so it's very possible that baby Kerry was right next to me when that was happening. And I've known Kerry personally, like we became friends when we were like 5 or 6 years old. And you know, I always joke around, I tell people that Kerry was kind of my first match because after the wrestling shows would be over, me and Kerry would get in the ring when we were like 5 or 6, and we would just be wrestling, quote unquote. In hindsight, it was not wrestling. It was a bunch of fooling around and
right.
Yeah, but it was awesome though because we felt like we were at WrestleMania. But years have gone by. I've, you know, literally grown up around and with Kerry. You know, we, you know, turned into teenagers. Next thing you know, we're adults. We're still friends. We still know each other. And last year, we actually faced off in the ring for the first time ever, for real, for the NWA World's Junior Heavyweight Championship. And in the ring with him not being a kid was totally different because now, you know, at that point, we're trained wrestlers. There's one of the most prestigious championships in the world on the line. And that was one of those things I had to think to myself, that's another thing. This is another person I'm going to have to put our past and our history aside for because I want to be NWA champion. I want to be world's junior heavyweight champion. I ultimately, as you know, did not win the title, but we had a match that a lot of people still bring up to me, actually. It's crazy. It was in Mountain City, Tennessee around this time last year, and people still come up to me and say, oh my gosh, your match that you had together was one of my favorites. And that's just so cool because, like I said, we've known each other for so long. We've rolled around in the ring since we were kids, and the first match we had together was actually really competitive. So I don't know when I'm gonna ever get to wrestle him again. You know, he's doing a lot of stuff with the Southern Six right now. He's kind of got a bad attitude like me at the moment, so I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever wrestle again anytime soon. But that match that we had last year was definitely a close call, and it's crazy to think that one of my longtime childhood friends could have made me champion if I would have just beaten him and won the belt, you know?
Right. Was that a full circle moment for you?
That was absolutely full circle. It's one of those moments, and I've had a few of these that, you know, a lot like when my dad walked me out to the ring, you know, as we mentioned earlier, that was a full circle moment. Wrestling with Kerry was a weird full circle moment because before we locked up, all I could keep thinking of in my mind was like, oh my gosh, this is like literally like, we used to do this all the time, hundreds of times a year on the road. We would just pretend to wrestle and kind of wrestle each other and just play around and wrestle. And this time I looked at him across the ring, and I was like, this is for real. This is about to go down, and now we know what we're doing. We're trained. He's a champion, and I'm trying to make my mark. It was totally full circle. It was one of those full circle moments I kind of shivered at a little bit, because like when the referee showed me his title and I looked across at him, I kind of got a little shaky. I was like, this is so weird, you know, like we're adults now and we're about to have a real match. But yeah, it was the most full circle thing ever. And, you know, to be that close to winning the championship too, oh my gosh, it couldn't have been a better moment and a better match. And I'm really glad that people still talk about it too.
Now, is that the moments that you've had in your career so far? Are those moments that you take in the moment, or is it something that kind of sets in afterwards, like, wow, that happened, or I did that?
You know, it kind of depends what it is. Like, you know, in that moment, I was a little shaky, but then there's some things that have happened to me that I don't realize until later. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. You know, a good example, winning the East Tennessee Tag Team Championships, you know, having that title with KC, that's something that kind of set in later on, because I remembered, and this was years ago, when I was like 14 or 15 years old, I remember my dad telling me a story about how right before he had the opportunity to have an East Tennessee tag title match, the company at the time, and this was called NWA Rocky Top, by the way, the company NWA Rocky Top that had the East Tennessee tag titles, my dad was supposed to get a shot at those titles, and they folded. They ran out of business. And so I remember my dad telling me years ago, like, oh my gosh, son, I was this close to being East Tennessee tag champion. And just, you know, last month I was kind of sitting around relaxing, and I was looking at the title, and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, this is literally the title that my dad, the exact same title too, from all those years ago, the same strap. This is the one that my dad wanted. So that's another full circle moment that I kind of realized later on. And when I thought about it, I was like, whoa, that couldn't have turned out any crazier. I'm trying to think of another one. You know, just being in the ring and meeting a lot of my dad's old buddies that I used to see when I was a kid is also something that happens a lot. I was at NWA this past Saturday for their event Back to the Territories, and I saw before the show just tons of my dad's old friends, and they would come up to me and be like, oh my gosh, you look just like him, you sound just like him, like this is so cool and it's so cool to meet you. And I'm the one thinking like, oh my gosh, like these are the people that my dad's been telling me about all these years, and now I'm meeting them or seeing them for the first time since I was like 5 or 6. You know, so that's another thing that I'm like, whoa, I got to take this all in, because I couldn't have ever imagined that this would happen. But to answer your question, though, some things I'll realize in the moment, like, whoa, this is deep, and I'm going to have to soak this all in. And then there's some things that sometimes later on, I'm like, oh, dude, That's full circle, isn't it? But that's the magic of it all, and that's why I'm so happy with my career so far. It's been nothing but stuff like that happening, you know.
And that's honestly very awesome about the whole championship.
Yeah, it is cool. See, you know, James, people can boo me all they want, but I'm the one who knows why it's special. So, you know, they can boo me all they want. You know, I know that it's one that my dad had or wanted, or, you know, one of the two, you know.
Well, you know, luckily, you know, the territories that you're a part of, there is a wealth of other, you know, second and third generation wrestlers like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, on a personal level, you kind of identify with each other. But when it comes to wrestling in the ring, is there a difference wrestling a second or third generation wrestler compared to just the first gen?
Yeah, I think there is. You know, since I started wrestling, I've been in the ring with so many people and so many experienced people too. People that have wrestled for a long time and they've been teaching me lessons, you know, teaching me how to get better, teaching me how to wrestle literally. Because a lot of the times that I've been learning how to wrestle, it's literally been in the ring with people better than me, right? So, but even compared to those people, just for some reason, and I can't really pinpoint it, being in the ring with another generational wrestler like myself, for some reason it feels different, and I almost feel like it's more I don't know, it for some reason, like, I think a good example, the first time I ever wrestled Cazana for the Hybrid Championship, I mean, for some reason I'd never met him before in my life. He came straight to the show, challenged me for the championship, and he's standing across the ring from me, right? For some reason, in that moment, and the moment we started wrestling, everything felt really smooth. It felt different. It felt more special for some reason, and it also felt more seamless. Like, when I first wrestled him for the first time, we immediately started to just wrestling. You know, there wasn't any like, oh, I need to figure this person out, or, oh, I don't know what this person's going to do. For some reason, I was able to just wrestle him. And just, you know, it's almost like we could kind of tell what we were going to do next. And I don't understand why. I really don't. But you just kind of get that feeling of, you know, this seems more smooth to me. Like, when I wrestled Kerry, even, like, just wrestling around with him in the ring just felt different, and everything made a ton of sense. Whereas when I wrestle other people, even experienced people, it feels a little different. So yeah, you do feel a difference for sure. But I can't really tell you why, because I don't know. But I can say that wrestling with Cazanas and Mortons and, you know, guys like that are like me, for some reason it feels more seamless. Like, we're going right into it. We can almost tell what's about to happen next. We know what each other's about. It might be because we've been down the same road. You know, we've been in locker rooms since we could first start talking, you know. I'm sure that has something to do with it. But other than that, I really couldn't tell you. But yes, to answer your question, I think there is a difference in that. So,
okay. Now, it's time for that segment once again. Evan's Bizarre Adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down the roads, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Yeah, let me think. This one's so funny because it didn't. I'll tell you two road stories because one of them was with my dad, and since we've been talking about it, I'll put his road story in. He probably doesn't want me to, but I'm going to anyways. So we were on the road together. I was like 10 years old, and I was in the passenger seat. He had picked me up from school, and he said, "All right, we're going to West Virginia." And first of all, before I even tell you this, I don't even know why I remember this so well. I just do. It's probably because I was a little scared, to be honest. But anyways, he picked me up from school and was like, we're going to West Virginia. And I remember thinking, like, I've got homework to do. Like, I don't know if we can go. And he's like, no, we got to go. We've got to go to the show. And I was like, okay. So we're on our way to West Virginia. And on the way there, my dad, and I'm not trying to make my dad seem like he's a bad parent or a bad person. That's not true. I just want to disclose that he is a fantastically responsible person. But he was speeding a little bit on the road. And I remember we got pulled over. And I can't remember exactly how it went, but I vividly remember seeing the lights behind us and thinking, oh my God, Mom is going to kill him because he was speeding. And we were on the way to West Virginia, which, I mean, my dad loved to wrestle in Virginia and West Virginia, but it was a little bit of a trip. And I could tell, since he had to pick me up from school anyways, the reason he was probably going so fast is because, I'm sure it was because school let out at 3 or something, and the show started at like 7, and West Virginia is like 3 or 4 hours away, so he was speeding, and for some reason, that's always stuck with me, because for one, I remember thinking, oh my God, he was probably speeding because of me, and then the second thing is I just remember how mad he was. Oh my God, he was like so mad. But it's only funny because he's like the nicest person and he doesn't get mad that often. But like, I remember what was so funny about it is when the officer rolled down the window, like we rolled down the window and the officer looked in. My dad was like so respectful and friendly. He was like, hello, officer. Oh, okay. I was speeding. I'm so sorry, sir. I'm in a hurry. And then right when my dad rolled back up the window while he was getting the ticket, he was like, son of a, and just started like cussing and like yelling and like he was like slamming his hand on the wheel. And he's like, I can't believe it. How am I supposed to tell Mom about this? And what about now we're going to be late to the show. And he was just flipping out. And I was like, Dad, just relax. And he's like, okay, you're right. I'll calm down. And then, but it was only funny because every time the officer came back, he would like flip his switch and go back into his nice mode. So he would be like, oh, I'm so mad. And then he'd go, oh, wait, yes, sir. I'm so sorry. Of course not. Of course I won't keep speeding. And then he'd roll the window back up and be like, come on. It was so funny just because I remember how mad he was. But yeah, he's super responsible, but he did speed that day. Something that's happened to me, I've ran out of gas, and that was actually a really scary moment because I didn't really know what to do. And I remember I was doing everything wrong. Like, I went into Walmart that was close by and bought this, like, huge gas can that I probably didn't need to spend that much money on. And then I finally got gas in my car to keep going, but then, like, instead of keeping the gas, I panicked and like forgot it. And I didn't keep the receipt for the gas can. So I spent like $70 on new gas to put in the car because it ran out of gas. And then the gas can, which I didn't keep the receipt for, so I couldn't even get my money back. I don't even know what I was thinking, but that was one of the first like road scares I've ever had. So I was just in panic mode. Like, I just remember as soon as I realized there was gas back in the car, I was like, it's okay. Let's just go. Like, let's just get out of here. I don't care about the gas and the money and all that. Let's just go. But in hindsight, I'm kind of like, oh my God, I could have got my money back. And I probably wasted a bunch of gas because I even forgot my change. I remember because I ran out near the gas station, right? And I remember walking past it, and the guy goes, hey, sir, you forgot your change. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm literally leaving money here. It's like, I was just totally panicking. So anyways, if you ever run out of gas and you're near a gas station, just like fill up a really cheap jug and just put a little bit in and then go get your gas, and don't waste so much money like I did, and don't freak out because I don't understand why I was freaking out so bad, but it's okay. But that's probably like the weirdest thing that's happened to me because it was one of those things where my car said I had 30 miles until empty, and then it just ran out. It just said it was like at 28 miles left. It was like, no, we're done here.
Oh no.
And I was like, that's not cool. Like, it said 28 miles left. Like, I would have if I would have known that this would happen, I would have just filled it up. Anyways, that's the first time on the road I was freaking out. But those are my road stories, and one of them includes my dad, and he does not have anger issues, but that day he was really mad, and it was hilarious.
Now, kind of going, we've been talking about some of the things that you've done that are drawbacks. I don't think that there's more of a drawback than interactions with live animals, and you've had a snake put on you multiple times.
Yeah, I have. I don't think I've talked about this on any shows, so this is kind of news. I have a massive, and I'm talking about a legitimate phobia. I'm sure if I go to a doctor, they would probably diagnose something. I have a huge phobia and fear of snakes, and it's because I almost got bit by one once. I was in the woods a few years ago, and I about got bit by a rattlesnake, and it was like, oh, I know. And I didn't even know, I live in North Carolina, and I didn't even know that they had rattlesnakes here. But I was at a buddy's house, and I about got bit by one, right? And it was like 8 feet long. I remember when it was slithering away, I was just speechless at how, and my buddy that I was at his house with, he lived on, the top of a mountain. So if it would have bit me, we probably wouldn't have even made it to the hospital. So anyways, ever since then, I've had a horrible fear of snakes. I can't even look at them or think about them. And I don't even, even if I see them in a movie, I'll turn away, and my buddies are like, dude, it's just a movie. And I'm like, no, I can't even look. And, I just can't do it. And, well, anyways, I start wrestling, and I got into a feud with Wicked J, who, as you could guess, has a massive ball python pet snake, and I wrestled him, and unbeknownst to me, the snake is laid upon you after you lose to Wicked J. So, as you can imagine, I lost to Wicked J, did not know there would be any snakes near me, and the next thing I know, there's one on me, curling around me, and when I looked in its eyes, I panicked. And everybody thought it was hilarious, and I can just say that it was not funny, and I hated it. And it's I can't believe I didn't pass out or something, because, I just don't understand how I lived, because, like I said, I can't even, they don't have arms, they have scary teeth, the whole thing is horrible. And, just looking up and seeing a massive one just laying on me, I was like, I'm speechless. I can't move. And when he finally got it off of me, I felt a lot more relaxed. But just in hindsight, I don't really know how I'm sitting here talking to you about it, because I easily could have passed out or, But anyways, that happened a couple of times. And each and every time it got more and more just absolutely horrifying. Yeah, for some reason, I have tons of experience in the ring with animals. I don't know where these animals keep coming from, but they're there, and I end up doing something where they're either on me or they come up to me, and I yell at them. I don't know. Evan has a lot of stuff going on where animals show up during his matches for some reason.
What were the other animals? Because I've only ever seen the snake.
So, just a couple of weeks ago, I was in Greenville, Tennessee, doing a show for SOM, and I was wrestling Amp Dominic, and on my way to the ring, this puppy was looking at me, and I got in its face, and I flicked it off. And on commentary, they were like, oh no, Evan Golden just flicked off a puppy. He's horrible. And I didn't even kind of realize I did it until a couple of days later. Somebody messaged me and was like, dude, you're wrong for giving that puppy the finger like that. You shouldn't have done that. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then somebody sent me the clip, and I was like, oh, I did do that, didn't I? And so I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like there was something else. I think those are the only animals for now. I feel like I'm forgetting something, which isn't good.
Maybe you blocked it out.
I think I blocked it out. I definitely can't believe the snake thing happened, though, because like I said, that was just a nightmare. That's something I think about sometimes, and I'm like, that I can't even believe that really happened to me. So,
Was you there with the llamas?
the llamas. If I have to think about it, that's not good.
There was a deal going down with llamas in the parking lot of a Buc-ee's. KC told me about that.
No, I know what you're talking about. I wasn't there. I was here. I was here in North Carolina.
Okay.
But I actually, believe it or not, was the one who heard about this first, because I was driving here in North Carolina, and him and Micheal Gabriel and I think a couple of other guys were at Buc-ee's in Sevierville, Tennessee, and he called me and goes, "Dude, there was a bunch of llamas." And they were in the parking lot at Buc-ee's. And I was like, dude, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you took something or like if you're okay, but like you might want to not drive. And he's like, no, it's for real. There was llamas in the parking lot and they were walking to the field. And I was like, dude, just whatever, man. I don't know what you're talking about. But it turned out there really was llamas, and I was flabbergasted. I had no idea that would happen.
Well, on the topic of animals, can you tell us about where's Mikey?
Mikey is my Chihuahua, and he is like the most adorable thing that's ever happened. And also, I did start a little TikTok trend with Mikey, because whenever I try to video him, he hides, but then he peeps back out. So I was like, I've got to put this on TikTok. And I never thought that I would put him on the internet like that, but the videos are just so cute. But yeah, Mikey is my Chihuahua. He's 12 years old, and he's been around for everything. Like everything I've ever done, he's just always been here at the house while I'm doing it. So he's my best pal, my best dog pal, and he has been a foot long since we got him when he was 2. And yeah, he's precious, and I think I need to start posting him a little more, because I've got so many cute pictures of him and I together, but I think I need to start posting more videos of him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now, can you tell us how accurate is your Wikipedia page?
Oh wow. Okay, let's do it.
No, I'm asking you, have you seen your Wikipedia page?
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna like go through it. I was gonna be like, no, wrong. Well, I have seen it. I have noticed that a lot of it does look correct, and these people have been sourcing it right. Like they're getting the data from reliable websites, because anybody can edit those things and put lies and stuff. The last time I looked at it, which was a few months ago, I remember thinking like, hey, this isn't half bad. They got my dad right. They got my weight is probably not right anymore. I probably gained weight. I remember thinking like, oh, it's because I think on there it says 209 or 210, and I've either gained a little bit or lost a little bit. So, that might not be totally accurate, but everything else I've read, I'm like, hey, not bad.
Is that like a cool wrestling thing? Like you have your own Wikipedia page?
Yeah, that is cool, because, when I was a kid, my mom would always let me get on her computer. And this was back when they had like really old computers, like PCs that were huge, and you can only get on like AOL and stuff. Yeah. And I vaguely remember being on Wikipedia and like looking at other wrestlers as Wikipedias. And then when I found out my dad had one years later, I thought that was really cool, because I found out all this stuff about him on there that I didn't know even happened. Even he doesn't remember all of it, because I showed it to him and he was like, oh my gosh, I don't even remember half this stuff. And I told him, I was like, well, it's teaching me a lot, because I didn't even know about all this stuff. But yeah, I think it's really cool that people have managed to put all that information together. But yeah, I do think that my weight might need an update, and you can go ahead and do that.
All right. Now, when you're not pro wrestling, you actually make music, no?
I do, and I love it.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so when I was in high school, I kind of taught myself how to play certain instruments like the bass, the drums, and yeah, I'm definitely self-taught on these things because I use basically what I learned from learning the drums and the bass and a little bit of the guitar to learn keyboards and stuff like that. And I've basically used what I've learned about keyboards to make my own music. And that music is actually on, Apple Music, Spotify. It's on all platforms. And that's just something that I do as a hobby. I make everything from scratch and I write everything on my own. That's something I'm proud of because, a lot of people that are musically gifted, they might be too nervous to put it out there. And I think one of the best things that I've done is put it out there for people to listen to because I like it. And so I would just kind of think, well, I'll put it out, see if other people like it too. And so basically what I do on my free time when I'm not on the road is I'll digitally produce music. I do play synthesizer and keyboard, but I mainly produce things pretty digitally. And yeah, I put it out there because I think it's cool. And whenever I get a chance, I always make sure to make a new song to put out and promote for a while.
Now, is it, you said you're making your own stuff. Are
Mm-hmm.
you writing it, are you reading the music, or are you just getting, like, in front of the keyboard and start, putting your fingers on the pedals?
I put my fingers on the keys and I just put stuff together and just I don't know how to read music, which is actually kind of funny, but I don't know how to read it. I actually have a buddy who's very musically gifted and she has her own music store and she seems to like my music a lot, but she tried to teach me once. She was like, just look, here, this is sheet music, just try to read it, like. And I couldn't do it, and I just, basically what I do is I just hop in front of it and just see what I can make by ear. With that being said, I'm not just like sitting on it and just seeing what it sounds like. I'm like, I actually like I do put everything together myself and make sure that it's like composed like a real song should. But yeah, I don't read anything. All I normally do is just record what sounds good to my ear, and then I put lyrics on top of it, and then next thing I know, I'm like, hey, I've got a new song I can put out. And yeah, it's something I'm really proud of because it's kind of nice to have something to do when I'm not wrestling that I also like to do, that's creative. Because I feel like when I'm not wrestling, I still feel like my brain's like moving and like, sure, it's like going really fast. And making music, that really helps me like relax and like, stay focused on something that's not a wrestling match. It kind of gives me a little break from the road.
I gotcha. Ironically enough, I read violin sheet music, but a piano.
Oh, cool.
But piano music, sheet music, no, I can't read that for some reason.
Yeah, me neither. And I've tried so hard, and to me, it's like just looking at a bunch of squiggles. I'm like, I don't know what that is. But to anybody that can, obviously, like that's super important to know how to do, and I'm sure, that would probably add more to the music that I make, but I'm really proud of what I can do, though. Not everybody has to know how to read that, but that's cool that you know how to read violin, because I like the violin's cool. That's a really awesome instrument.
Yeah, it's been a very long time since I've picked it up, and it's very temperamental, but it was a good time.
Yeah, I like the flute too. I kind of forgot when I was in elementary school they made me learn the flute, but now I don't like it. It kind of looks like a snake, so I don't like it.
I think that's a great segue into the colossal question. Let's
Okay.
say that they're making a movie about you. Every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on your movie soundtrack?
Oh man, that's so cool. I think let me think about this because I want to get this right. I think anything off of Van Halen's album 1984, particularly Jump, I think that would be so cool cuz like that's just kind of the kind of music that I listen to on the road with my dad is like 80s music and stuff. I think that's one I remember thinking, oh, I love this song. So Jump by Van Halen. The second one would probably be The Final Countdown. I really like that song. It hypes me up. And also, like, it's just something I've heard a million times at shows since I was a kid. Because they would always play it before the show started, and it's such a good song. Let me think. Something that goes really good with me, I think. There's this song by Fleetwood Mac called "Isn't It Midnight," and I actually heard that for the first time a few months ago, and I was thinking like, oh my gosh, this song is such a vibe because it reminds me of like late night driving and stuff, and that's something I do a lot. I'm almost always driving like late at night. So I think if there was a scene of me like, having like a moment in the car where I'm like driving and thinking about how much I'm gonna beat up KC this Saturday. I think that like that would be playing in the background, but like not too loud. It would be kind of like in the background, and people watching the movie would be like, "Oh, this is such a vibe." Now you're making me want to make a movie about myself starring me. I'm gonna try not to do that.
Well, solid. Those are some great picks to say the least. Everybody knows you get the soundtrack first, then you write the script, and then you go to casting. Who plays Evan, and you can't say yourself because you are legally obligated to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo?
Oh, okay, let me think. What's funny about my movie is it would be one of those things where like there's like 3 people playing me. There'd have to be like 6-year-old Evan Golden, and then 15-year-old Evan Golden, and then 23-year-old Evan Golden, which is me right now. And I think I don't know if this person would still be able to pull this off because they've kind of themselves gotten a little older, but I've been told that Ross Lynch from Disney Channel looks a lot similar to me, and I don't know if that's really true. I know who they're talking about. I used to watch his show on Disney. I know who they're talking about, but he would have to curl his hair like a lot, and also I feel like they would have to make him look younger because now Ross Lynch is like in his 30s or something. So they would have to make him look a little younger, I guess, to play me. But yeah, I think I would pick Ross Lynch and then some 2 gifted child actors who are very good actors that are blonde that want to break in the movie business. I don't know. I can't think of any blonde kid actors, but just 2 that look like me back in the old days.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I believe Ross is 28 years old, so he could still pull off 23.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, then if we could just get started on this movie now, then maybe we can get him to do it.
Now that we have you casted, every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people significant to you and your story that would be in your movie, and who would play them?
So my dad would definitely be in the movie. I'm gonna tell this actor just because it would make him laugh, and also he loves this actor. I would have Kurt Russell play my dad.
Okay.
because it's kind of funny, me and my dad, we used to watch Tombstone a lot. I don't know if you've seen Tombstone, but Kurt Russell is in that movie, and he kills it in that movie. But today, in this day and age, Kurt Russell kind of looks like my dad because they're both kind of getting older. They don't look so much alike that, like, I look at Kurt Russell and I'm like, oh my God, he looks just like my dad or anything. But, like, they both kind of got, like, the slick back hair that's kind of, not like it used to look. And he's just, I don't know, his kind of attitude reminds me a lot of my dad's, because, like, he's serious, but he's also really funny. I've seen Kurt Russell in, like, hilarious movies. So Kurt Russell would play Eddie Golden.
Okay.
And then, let me think. My other trainer, Easy Money, I feel like Jason Statham could probably play him.
Okay.
If Jason Statham could, like, tan up really good and, like, get a little bit more bulked up. He's already jacked up, but, like, Easy Money to this day is in very good shape. I think if Jason Statham could bulk up his upper body, he could play present day Easy Money, but he would have to get, like, a little bit of a mohawk, kind of.
Okay, I'm thinking that.
So yeah, those are. Let me. I can't think of anybody else. Danny DeVito could probably play Joe Cazana. Well, no, Joe's not that short. He's I don't know. I don't know. I think those are two that those are the three actors that I'm like, that they would have to be in this hit film about my career. But that's all, like, present day. If there ever is a movie about me and, like, far out in the future, I'm sure all of them will not be available. So, but right now, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Oh yeah. And just continuing that Golden Cazana rivalry while you're at it.
Yeah, I had to get that in there. I just, I'm worried about it, so.
Either way, it's sounding like a blockbuster, and you can pre-order the tickets now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, onto a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
I feel the same way about pineapple on pizza that I feel about snakes. It makes me sick, and I don't like it. And I know I might lose a couple of friends. You might not want to talk to me anymore, James. I don't know. I know anybody I've ever told that I don't like it, they freak out. But pineapple on pizza is a no-go for Evan Golden. However, I like black olives on pizza. That's kind of a weird thing you put on pizza that people like. Black olives and mushrooms on Evan Golden's pizza is delicious. That's all I'm going to say. But not pineapple.
Okay, so we're very anti-pineapple.
Yeah, and I actually don't even like regular pineapple. I like SpongeBob's house, but I don't like eating pineapple. So,
alright. What's your spirit Pokemon?
Man, I don't know. I actually never got into that too much, unfortunately. I like Pikachu though. He's pretty cool. I know a little bit about him. I know that's the most generic answer ever, but I like the color yellow, and that's him. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we love the late great Tracy Smothers on the show.
Cool.
Do you know the acronym for Doug? THUG.
Oh my gosh, I do. Let me think. Give me the first couple. Can you give me the first couple?
T is for terrible.
Terrible. Oh my gosh, I remember this, and I remember thinking that's the coolest acronym ever. And I've even got his shirt that says Doug on it. What's the acronym? Fill me in on the acronym because I can't remember. I remember thinking it was awesome, but I'm blanking on it.
T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail, 'cause a Doug can't spell.
Dude, you know what's really cool? This is going to be awesome. This is another one of those moments right here on the show. I have a signed Tracy Smothers mask sitting like 6 feet away from me right now. I got it at his gimmick table when I was like 7 years old, and I'm literally looking at it right now. As soon as you said Tracy Smothers, I looked over at it, and I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. But yeah, he had like these like generic wrestling style masks at his table, and I bought one. So it's sitting over here. Sometimes I feel like I've got Tracy Smothers in my room sometimes because he signed it for me and stuff. It's so cool. But yeah, that's cool you brought him up. And did you say you had him on the show? Is that what you said?
No, we just love him on the show.
Oh, okay. Well, he's technically on the show in the background because his signature is on my mask over there. So he's here in spirit.
Definitely. We've only gotten to know Tracy Smothers through the story other people told us.
Oh yeah, my dad's wrestled Tracy Smothers a lot, and he said that he was awesome to wrestle in the ring. But he said he was really tough. He's another one who's wrestled with animals. He wrestled a bear once.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I need to do that. I don't know. I'll wrestle a snake as long as I'm not in the ring with it. I'll have someone else do it for me.
Well, that's a great segue into the weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully.
Oh, man. Okay, let's hear it.
Would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual physical Rock.
Yeah, I think I could take it on. Actually, I feel like the more I've been hitting it harder in the gym, I feel like if we're talking about a bigger Rock, yeah, I feel like I could give it like a German suplex. I feel like I could throw it out of the ring and then kick it. So I think if I'm answering this correctly, I feel like if we've got a real Rock standing across the ring from me, a real one, not a pebble, a Rock, yeah, I'll win. And I'll hit it with my move, the Afterburner, and win. And yeah, just hopefully it's not too heavy to where I can't lift it.
Well, just for context, there is this wrestler named Psycho Mike that indeed wrestled a Rock for over 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match. That's an Iron Man match that lasts for 2 weeks.
Whoa, dang, that's a long time. You know, I think I can do it. Am I going to? No, probably not, but I'm Evan Golden, and I win everything I do. And if there's a Rock that wants to go down, I'll do it.
All right. On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, I hope that in 5 years I'm still representing NWA and doing more shows for them, for their main roster as well. I think NWA is the best wrestling that you can watch right now. And I seriously feel like in 5 years' time, I could be a household name for NWA fans. I'm already super, proud of the fact that I'm a part of it. You know, that's awesome, But I feel like in 5 years' time, hopefully I can come back on the show and tell you, look, I won a championship or something like that. Or, just, for example, I'm sick and tired of the way that Casey Cazana goes around thinking he's going to be a champion off my back. I could literally go on NWA Power and destroy him, okay, on TV, and I'll do it, all right? And because I've already beaten him on SOM TV, I'll beat him on there. And there's just so many. The talent in NWA, other than him, are just great. So hopefully in 5 years' time, unless I'm doing something elsewhere for some reason, I would really like to make things happen with the National Wrestling Alliance. And I do believe that you will see more and more things happening with me there, to the point that in 5 years' time, we'll have something to talk about.
All right. And what is a match people should go out of their way to see that best shows off what you are all about as a pro wrestler?
So, I think that my match with Kerry, since people are still talking about it, I feel like people should maybe go check that out. I showed a lot of attitude in that match. I went out there, and sure, people were booing, and sure, I was being toxic, but I wanted that title so bad that I feel like if people want to taste it, focused and competitive Evan Golden, I think that's one they should go out of their way and watch. Let's see. I've had a couple of matches recently that I felt like went really good. I wrestled Johnny Poke to win the SPCW Junior Heavyweight Championship, and that's a match that I feel like you can see what I bring to the table. I hit a lot of dangerous maneuvers and moves on him in order to win the title, so I feel like me and him is one worth watching. I had a match with this guy named Isaiah Cohn recently that I pulled out all the stops for. So those 3 matches are matches that I've had that I think people should go check out. And this Saturday, of course, me and KC, there will be footage of me winning because, of course, I've got to keep that. So,
And the matches you mentioned, are they on YouTube?
They are, and I just checked recently to see if the one that I had with Isaiah was on there, because I feel like that was one that I was like, I was kind of in a focused state, because I was like, I need to start letting SPCW know how serious I am about wanting to be a champion around here. And that was like the first match. I was like, no, I'm pulling out all the stops. So, yeah, I would check that one out, and I'm sure there's more that I can think of, but those are the ones that pop up in my head that I'm like, yeah, those were cool.
Okay, and if they are indeed on YouTube, I will grab them, and I will put a link to them in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox for anybody that hasn't seen them, wants to see them, wants to re-see them after this interview.
Sweet.
And since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Oh, snap, I'm scared. Are these softballs? Are these easy?
This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
Oh my gosh. This could make me look really bad. Okay, let's just do it. Let's do it.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Kenny Omega.
Worst wrestler.
Kevin Nash.
Ooh, spicy. You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Seth Rollins.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Shelton Benjamin. Ain't no stopping me, no.
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
I want to say that you're thinking dead, but is that it?
I mean, it's whatever you're finishing the sentence, pal.
Oh, so we're live, pal. Okay, hold on. It's alive. It's alive and well.
All right. We would have also accepted taste great on toast.
Wait, what was that?
We would have also accepted taste great on toast.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's good.
Squash, vegetable or fruit?
That is definitely a vegetable, and nobody's going to convince me otherwise. Okay, this is definitely a vegetable. No questions asked, and nobody's going to tell me no. And if anybody's listening to this right now, it's a vegetable, so shut it. Next question.
I feel like you've had this conversation before.
I have, and I know I'm right, but you know what? I don't feel like Googling it. I don't have time to Google that, but I know I'm right, so it's fine.
Well, you would actually be wrong because it is indeed
Oh.
a fruit.
James, come on, man. You're supposed to have my back and just tell everybody that it's a vegetable. Okay, come on.
But you are part of Squash Squad now, and that means a hell of a lot more.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Wait, what's Squash Squad?
It's people that believe that squash is a vegetable and you all come together, it's a squad. You believe 100% that it's a vegetable.
I'm proud. I'm proud to be a part of the Squash Squad, and nobody's gonna take me out of it, you know?
Hell yeah. Unless you start believing it's a fruit, then you're totally kicked out.
Well, I guess I've had my time in the sun, but I'm not gonna, I'm not giving up yet. I know I'm right. Maybe in a few years, maybe that's where I'll be in 5 years. I'll be out of the squash club or whatever.
New Japan wrestler Tai Chi. His ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
So I like to wear what's called biker tights. They go down like past the cheeks a little bit to where they're basically tight shorts. I feel like personally that's just the best look. But my dad used to wear tights that were like, they would stop like right under his cheeks and they looked like total underwear. And that's fine because mine look like boxers, I guess. So, I mean, it's whatever. But I feel like the bikers are the most appropriate looking as far as not showing your cheeks, which can happen. So that's what I think is the appropriate length. But, sometimes it just depends what's going on, though. Sometimes they ride up and take a trip when you don't want them to.
All right, so full coverage.
Yeah, I like full coverage, but I know what you're talking about, though. I do feel like he basically has a wedgie sometimes, but that's just because I don't want that to happen to me. So I want full coverage.
And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
Ooh, about Darby Allin? You know what? Here's the thing. I'm going to have to go to the outfield a little bit because this wasn't in a supermarket. Can I kind of like edit this a little bit?
Okay. Give us some context.
Okay, so I was in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I don't know if you've ever been to or have heard of Gatlinburg. It's a tourist destination in Tennessee, and it's got like just a ton of cool stuff. I actually was walking along the sidewalk, and I saw the Darby Allin.
The fuck?
I swear, yeah, I was walking. And, Gatlinburg has all of these different, like, attractions. Like, they have a haunted house attraction. They have, like, a 3D theater attraction. It's a whole mountain strip of just all this stuff to do. And this is, like, 2019. And me and my dad were just walking alongside the sidewalk. And my dad goes, "Oh, my God, son, that's Darby Allin." And I was like, no, that's not him. And sure enough, it was him. He was standing outside of the haunted house attraction just looking at it. He was just like checking it out. He wasn't going in, but like he was just standing outside of it, like looking at it, like he thought it was cool. And I wanted to go up to him and be like, "Darby Allin, it's nice to meet you," but I didn't. And that sucks because I hadn't even started wrestling yet when this happened, so I probably could have went and asked him for advice, but it sounds like it would be to get run over by buses or jump off stuff, or going to haunted houses, so I just decided I shouldn't. But I guess that's a conversation about him because we were standing near him, and I was talking about how he was there and how I thought that was cool. And I don't know if that counts as an answer.
So, not in a supermarket.
No. But there was there was a gas station nearby, a convenience store. I don't know if I could have just teleported like a few hundred yards down in there, it would have been.
Well, that is the correct answer.
Oh, cool. All right, cool. I passed.
And that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
Yeah, I had fun, man. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. And once again, where can we find all things Evan Golden on social media and your merchandise?
Yeah. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just look up Evan Golden. All the handles are Evan the Blonde with an E at the end. And then I'm on Twitch at Evan Golden Wrestler. And at ProWrestlingTees.com, we just dropped a new shirt promoting my finisher, the Afterburner, and I think it looks really cool, and I'm going to start wearing it to the ring because, you know, it's the most lethal finisher in wrestling, pal, all right? It'll kill somebody if it's hit too strong. It's a serious move, and I feel like people who know it best should get the shirt. So we're on Pro Wrestling Tees. Just look up Evan Golden. We talked about the music. If you look up Evan Golden on all platforms, you can find some music that I've been making on my free time. And I think that's the gist of the socials. Just look up Evan Golden on everything, TikTok, and you'll find stuff that I'm doing. Yeah, YouTube is Evan Golden as well. That's where I post a lot of my music and promos and stuff. Like stuff that when I'm calling people out, they can see it on there as well. So
okay.
Yeah.
And you don't have to type it into your Google machines. All of the links to all his social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox, simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you are on. You have no excuse. Buy a damn shirt.
Yeah, no excuses. These shirts need to be purchased. They are perfect, okay? They're the best merch you can buy. Tell them, James. They're great shirts.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. And click that link, buy a damn shirt.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, but on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us next Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews, and follow the show at Wrestling with E on X, Thread, and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Alright, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment, okay?
You got it.
For our special guest Evan Golden, Calico Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.